Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, bear with us as we hook up our Wii Speak and log on to Miiverse. We're talking about Nintendo online services. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, joined as always by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. How's it going, Mark?
It's going great.
Good?
Yeah.
To hear.
If you were on The Price is Right, what game would you hope to get?
Oh, geez. You know, I forget the names of the Price is Right games.
Or which one do you think you'd be good
Here's
at?
the thing,
Like, do you think you'd be good at The Price is Right?
No, probably not.
Yeah, I think I'd be real bad.
Most of my memories of watching The Price is Right are based on me in the early 90s watching it in my parents' basement. And so those prices, which at some point I probably got pretty good at guessing, would be way wrong now.
It also makes me realize that I don't really know the price of things.
Oh, absolutely. A stove.
Yeah, like
$600?
Sure.
$1,200? $4,000. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Nintendo Switch? $300. $4? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll just go and buy it.
Yeah, exactly. If it's like something I need,
Right.
I'm going to buy it no matter what.
Yeah.
If it's a stove, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Look, you and I, we're in a renter's economy.
Uh-huh.
We're never going to own anything, I don't think.
No.
My girlfriend just bought a car.
Must be nice.
I'm just... I mean, she's got like a loan on it, but I'm saying it all seems like a fantasy. You should never really own anything. The economy is crumbling. If the last 2 days, 4 days ago. Look, we record these things on Monday.
The illusion has been torn.
But you know what has not been torn, Mark? The reputation of The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time.
That is right.
We are going to be ranking those dungeons. I believe that we're going to be doing this episode for March 1st.
Aha.
It's a Thursday. We had previously been saying that it was going to happen in February. You know, February is a short month.
Yeah, the end of February.
Which is March 1st.
By
Right?
Definition.
Right? We are going to be ranking the dungeons in The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time. Mark and I know that game pretty well, but, there are details we forget. So if you want to clue us in on any of your favorite details on those dungeons, please do. If you want to rank them for us, we may not use your ranking exactly,
But it would help us. It helps us. It helps us.
Look, normally it's just Mark and I arguing with each other for these things.
Which, don't get me wrong, is fun.
Yeah, we like doing it. But if the two of us could team up and argue against you, I mean, that sounds even better to me.
Or what if me and a listener team up against you?
Oh, man. That's my nightmare. So you can write in with all that stuff to Nintendo Cartridge Society
At gmail.com.
and be a part of the show. You've got a couple weeks to gather your thoughts.
And when you're sending us your thoughts on the Ocarina of Time's dungeons,
Yeah.
maybe a ranking, what else could they send us, Patrick?
They could also send us a request to borrow Sonic Forces on the Nintendo Switch. This is a Sonic the Hedgehog game. It's in 3D. I didn't enjoy playing it. Would you like to borrow it? You can. Here's all you have to do. Send me your address by writing an email to Nintendo Cartridge Society
At gmail.com.
Shows up in your mailbox or P.O. box or however you get your mail. And you play it and then send it right on back to me. It costs you how much, Mark?
Nothing.
It costs a big nothing. And you could be playing Sonic Forces for free in your own home or on the go.
Yeah, or in an apartment that you rent.
Right.
It's a renter's economy.
It's a renter and it's a borrower's economy, actually.
Oh.
We're just right?
Yeah,
I guess
sure.
It's a service-based economy.
I believe you.
I mean,
I wouldn't pay more than $3 for a gallon of milk. No way.
for a gallon?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, sometimes I'll go organic and
then it's
I know
like,
it's going to cost me a little bit
yeah,
more.
like $8.
I grew up in Wisconsin. I feel like I drink too much milk for an adult. But it's something I've come to terms with. It's just a part of who I am. Mark, let's get into this and talk about Nintendo's online services. Now, this is by no means a complete or comprehensive view of Nintendo's online services or online services in general.
No.
These are going to be our experiences with them.
Yeah.
Is the first when you think of Nintendo and online, from what do you think of? Where does your mind go first? Like, what are your primary Nintendo online experiences?
Probably on the Wii, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
Like the most time spent for sure.
And like the most time just spent with the fact that it's connected to the internet. I mean, not only is the Wii Virtual Console something, a great resource for classic games, but like, I remember messing around with that like Wii Vote channel,
Yeah.
and the weather channel, or even the news channel. I would just leave the news channel on, and it would like bounce around the world.
It was such a novelty back then, and I think
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why I spent so much time with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we just expect everything to be connected.
Yes. Yeah, and it would be weird to like turn on the TV and fire up the Wii to check the weather.
And there's a lot of like uniformity and function now.
Yes.
When that didn't really exist before. Do you know what I mean? Like now when it's like online services for a game console, we know what we expect that to be.
Yes.
Whereas like in the Wii era, this was before everybody had iPhones, before everybody had all of that like information immediately available to them.
I mean, it is pointedly after the Xbox 360 though.
Yeah, but Xbox 360 didn't, to my memory of it.
Again, this is just our experience.
Yeah,
we are not experts.
It didn't have like a news channel.
Right. No,
a
that's
weather
correct.
channel.
Yeah.
It may have like surfaced some weather information, but I don't think so. I think it was very it was
like gaming focused.
Yeah, absolutely.
So but there really weren't, especially on the Wii, really weren't actual gaming applications or like active gaming applications
and were they
for the online service.
And when they were fairly bad. Like I guess like most notoriously Super Smash Brothers Brawl.
Right. I mean, almost literally unplayable. I don't think I ever played a match, and I tried it a bunch because I was big into Brawl for a while. But like, yeah, it was really, really, really poor service. The matchmaking never followed through, and like I think they knew that it was a huge problem.
They did,
because they put you in like you could fight with the people you had locally in the meantime, like while you waited for it to match you with people.
Well, they also knew it was bad because I'm pretty sure when Wii U and 3DS, when the Smash versions for those, like I think Sakurai specifically called out that the online was going to be good this time.
Oh well, that's good. The online experience with Mario Kart on the Wii, so Mario Kart Wii, was also pretty rough, but it would connect at least.
Yeah, I remember it being fine. I don't remember having issues with it.
It's just, I mean, and I guess this is true even now on Wii U and Switch. It's just incredibly limited. That you don't. I guess you have like an avatar in the form of your Mii, but like it just doesn't give you a lot of options to control what you're playing or when you're playing or who you're playing with.
Yeah, and I think it's the who you're playing with.
Yeah,
that has always been an Achilles heel for Nintendo.
Yeah, so I mean, elephant in the room. The biggest, I think, failing of Nintendo's online services in the past and present is voice chat. Right? There's no real way to talk to your friends as you're playing a game with them.
Right.
And like we know that Splatoon 2 sort of like halved its way around it by having that phone app. Which have there been any more like additions to the Nintendo Switch iPhone app?
I don't think so. I mean, I think they have released a few like stability updates.
Right, but no. I mean, so like specifically,
no, like there's no like Splatnet equivalent for any other game.
Yeah, so that's very strange, right?
Yeah, it does make me wonder, and I guess this is jumping ahead a little bit, so we won't talk about it too much now. It makes me wonder, what that phone app, what the Nintendo Switch like online phone app looks like in a world with a fully featured. It just seems like it'll be completely rewritten.
Yeah.
completely redone.
Yeah, or discarded entirely.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, also potentially true.
so what other? I'm just trying to think of like what other sort of connected experiences we've had with Nintendo.
Well, do you remember
online services?
What was it called on the DS? Like, because did you ever play Nintendo DS online?
Yeah, I mean Mario Kart. I played Mario Kart DS online, which had a huge problem with. It was called snaking. It was a way of drifting that allowed you to just like destroy everyone. But yeah, I convinced my friend Siri to buy one of the, and she's a real person and not just a phone app. To buy a DS our senior year in college because we were like, obviously going away to different places. It's like, no, we can play Mario Kart. We can continue to play Mario Kart together if we both have these things. And, I was in, she was in Minneapolis and I was in Wisconsin. So we weren't super far apart, but far enough apart that it would have been impractical for us to play Mario Kart together. And I remember that obviously you need to be on the phone with each other while you're working it out, and all of that. But like it worked, and you could do it. But I'm hard pressed to think of if I had any other real online experiences with the DS. It didn't even have like a store, right?
Once the DSi came out.
But that was just strictly like DSiWare.
Yes, that's right.
So there weren't like there was no virtual console to speak of, and there was no
you couldn't buy retail games,
right? And I mean you couldn't buy. Is this true? Check me on this. On the Wii, you couldn't buy retail games.
I think that's true.
On the Wii, only the WiiWare and virtual console games. Man. I mean, I understand it's been 15 years, whatever. Not quite, but it's been more than 10 years. But just the way that we take games in and what we expect of them in regards to connectivity is crazy. How much it's changed. So, really, I guess our real exposure to Nintendo online stuff has been in the form of. For me, the Wii U, and for the both of us, the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
What games have you played on 3DS that you like actually ended up using? It's kind of tough, right?
I don't know that I've done any. Like, I don't even know if I took Smash Online.
I took Smash Online a little bit, but it's hard because like one of the things that I like about the 3DS is packing it up and taking it places. And, if you're in like a hotel or something, it's weird to try and, you know what I mean? You got to like open a browser or something.
I did take advantage of the 3DS eShop, of course, allowed full game downloads.
Yeah.
And so initially, like when I first got my 3DS, I had games. I was buying physical copies of games, but now I pretty much buy everything.
Oh, I still have your copy of A Link Between Worlds, by the way. It's right here. This is a game I borrowed from you like 3 years ago. And I came across it recently, and I just here you can have this back.
You should just keep it. Did you ever play it? Were you able to?
I played like a little bit of it, and I know it's supposed to be one of the best. Whatever. I speaking of Zelda on 3DS, I did play a fair amount, if not all, of Hyrule Warriors. Nope, that's not right. Triforce Heroes is the name of that game. And I played it like online with randos. And the premise of the game is that you're 3 links going into basically little dungeons together. And it's the kind of game that feels like it requires like tight coordination between 3 players. But again, there's no voice chat or anything, and all you can do are like spam these little communication buttons where you're just like yeah, or throw, or use item, or whatever. And so like it was a total crapshoot as to whether it was going to be a fun experience with people who were actually like playing the game with you, or one troll in there that was just trying to have fun by messing you up.
Yeah.
So that's a frustrating experience, but I guess that's just online interactions in general. Trying to think of what else I played, so here's something. And I think one place where Nintendo, specifically Game Freak, has done something smart with online services is Pokemon Bank. Pokemon Bank allows you to upload Pokemon from whatever version of the game you're playing to be downloaded in other versions. So if you've got a Pikachu that you've been working on for a while and you want to bring him over to another platform, you can.
It only goes one direction, though, right? You can only funnel to newer versions. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Pokemon has to exist in the. There's no way that you're going to be able to bring a Rowlet into Pokemon Red.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. But otherwise, yeah. It's all about carrying the Pokemon forward. But I think that is cool, and I think that offers something that you don't see very often in online services, a way of like maintaining continuity of your play experience. I mean, I guess we see that a little bit in the Mii's, that from Wii to 3DS to Wii U, that you can bring your same avatar all the way through. And I suppose even on the Switch, and we could have brought them into Miitomo as well.
R.I.P.
Miitomo. So I don't know. Is that anything? It's not something I care about. The me part, but I mean the Pokemon Bank thing is interesting, and not something that I see any other like online services doing.
But what I think is interesting about this discussion is that for Nintendo platforms, when we're talking about their online services, we're talking about it in a very piecemeal type of way, where it's like game to game, developer to developer, when that's such a, to my mind, like a kind of archaic way of viewing online services. Whereas now we expect everything to be, and what Sony and Microsoft have provided for like 2 generations now is an all-encompassing, where you don't have to think about it, right? You don't have to worry about how this game is going to work versus another game, like having different like setup and systems and all of that kind of stuff. It's all unified.
Yeah, well, and so this is, I think, as good a point as any to kind of transition over to like the next part of this topic, which is how we have experienced online services from other providers, like you say, Microsoft or Sony, and just like what are the like common things that we come to expect from them.
Well, I think for me the biggest differentiator between Microsoft, Sony, and what Nintendo does online is with Microsoft and Sony. It works intuitively, and I just expect it to work.
Yes.
Right? Like, I get online without much thought. Everything, everything just, like, works how I expect it to. Whereas I feel like with all of Nintendo's online services previously, you've had to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and, like, kind of decode it. And, in a way, like, translate it back into the languages you are familiar with, which are Sony and Microsoft. But I mean, like, some of the, like, if we can just call out what some of those things are, like, voice chat, for example, friend codes.
Yeah, having, like, a party system.
Yeah.
Right? Where, like, you and I, before we've even hopped into a game, can start chatting with each other, and then we can hop into a game and have that party chat continue, and there's like no friction.
Right, that we're just able to continue to communicate with each other without a phone involved.
It makes it a social experience.
Yeah, and instead of like a lopsided like game experience where you're occasionally communicating with someone. Something else is a trophy or achievement system, which is not just something that you have to track your own accomplishments, but that other people can see.
Yeah, and it's something that Nintendo has not really shown any interest in. Again, it's one of those things where individual games, sometimes third-party games or indie games, will like implement its own trophy system or its own like reward system. Back when the Switch launched, there were kind of like rumors, a developer hinting at it, that Nintendo was working on its own achievement type system. If we end up seeing that, which I would not be surprised if we see that when this big online launch happens in September, I don't think it'll work exactly like achievements or trophies. I think there's going to be some sort of Nintendo spin on it. What that is, I have no clue.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the Wii U got close, and not in any sort of like outward facing way. It was all very like still user focused. But a lot of especially possibly exclusively Nintendo first party games had stamps that you earned. Sometimes as like extra collectibles or whatever. They were in Mario Kart. They were in Mario Maker. They were in Super Mario 3D World, Land, World. Um, and so like as you were collecting these things, you could use them in Miiverse posts, and then people I guess could see those. But like it's a very it's still I don't know, it's a Nintendo like twist on that, but it's still not quite. It doesn't really serve the exact same purpose.
One thing I'm really looking for in an online service, and Sony and Microsoft, and really I guess this is more game specific because this would be handled by different developers, but kind of the expectation is I want to be able to play with the people like when I want to do it. And so
Tell me what you mean.
like take Splatoon 2 for example.
I will.
Right? Like if we wanted to play together, Splatoon 2 makes that very difficult to do online.
Yes.
Right? Especially if we try to get like a group of 3 or 4 of us. And I think some of that is probably for like competitive reasons, but even in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I still have no clue how to play with you.
Yeah, it should be very easy, right? That we should just be able to hop in there, see our friend list, and be like tap 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 tap. It's a touch screen.
Yeah.
And then just be playing with those people. Like it shouldn't be complicated.
And it seems like Nintendo chooses to make that either impossible or very opaque.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they have their reasons for doing it. I'm sure they think that it makes the game more fun, but that's like a limitation that's always been frustrating to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll agree with that entirely. What do you think about? I mean, obviously, Nintendo in the past has been good about Virtual Console and like classic games and stuff like that, as well as retail games being available. But what do you think about the kinds of like free or streaming options that programs like PlayStation Plus or what's the PlayStation streaming thing? What's it called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm. Oh yeah, like the Netflix for PlayStation.
Yeah,
I can't remember what that's called.
They purchased Gaikai to do it. It doesn't matter what it's called, but it's a streaming classic gaming service. And Xbox has their Game Pass service, which is another basically you pay a monthly fee and then there are all these games that you can download and play as you want. But and like on top of that, they have like games with gold, and PlayStation, like I said, has PlayStation Plus, which is free games as part of your online service. Have you used any of those, or like have any experience like getting those free games?
Yeah, I feel like I never really took advantage of the PSN Gold. Like the
Plus,
free,
yeah.
Plus, like the free games that come with that.
That's how I played Resident Evil 5.
On the PS3?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I only ever had PSN Plus or PS Plus subscription with my PS4.
Sure.
Which does not play PS3 games.
Right.
Because that would have been perfect. Because there were a lot of games on the PS3, like BioShock Infinite and stuff
that's how I played that game.
that I wanted to play, but have never been available. And for the longest time, in the early days of the PS4, when I was playing a lot of it, the pickings were pretty slim.
Yeah, and they're still not super great, I feel like. Although I want to say there's something interesting on there now, but I can't think of what it is. That's how I played Thomas Was Alone, which is a game that's really cool and I liked a lot.
But it's a great service, and I think they add a lot of that stuff in there to help justify the $60 price.
Yes, that's right. So these services, this is something that should be mentioned. These services are not cheap, right? Like both the Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus are between $50 and $60 a year. and if you want to add, the Xbox Game Pass, or the PlayStation thing that I cannot remember what it's called, those also cost more money. The Xbox Game Pass, I believe, is $50 for 6 months or something along those lines, $10 a month, ish. So like those are real costs that we've never seen with on a Nintendo platform.
Yeah,
before.
I mean, we've also never seen Nintendo gate online play before.
Yes.
Right? With Xbox Live, since its launch with the 360, you had to pay in order to play with you had to pay to upgrade to Xbox Live Gold to play with your friends.
Games online.
Sony in the PS3 era didn't charge anything, but that changed with the PS4. And we're going to see Nintendo change with the launch of Nintendo Switch Online, and that'll be $20 a year.
So is this where we start to move into what we think and what we hope the Nintendo Switch Online service actually provides us with?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't really know how to structure this part of the conversation necessarily, other than we should say something that we either hope or that we expect, and just clarify which it is.
Okay. Well, I'll start.
Okay.
I hope that it has the bare minimum of services that PSN and Xbox Live offer. This includes party chat.
Yes. Now, party chat with no phone.
Yeah, I want it to be on like a system level.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to get out my smartphone and try to connect with people that way. That's my hope. My expectation is that will not be the case.
Yeah, I guess my expectation is also that there will be no voice chat features along with this. If anything, that we will continue to get iPhone solutions.
Yes.
Which aren't just call your friends. What other features do you like? The simple features from
I want to be able to play with my friends.
Right.
I want to be able to play games like how I want to play them. That's another one where that's my hope, and my expectation is that will not be the case.
Yeah. Yeah, man, what a bummer. I'll try to go a little bit more positive then. So we've heard obviously rumors about either NES games or Super Nintendo games being available to play either one or two at a time with like online features, either like leaderboards or like versus modes or whatever. So that's very interesting. And what I would like to see is for them to put up, not 2 games a month, but like 2 games a week, and like make those 2 games free for that week or free for a month as part of the service, and then like lock it away under like you can buy it if you want to after. But so that if there's like a moment when we're all playing Bubble Bobble and like vying for high scores and we're able to play with each other online or whatever, and then it becomes like just sort of a classic console game after that, great. I just like Nintendo's obviously got such a big back catalog to sort through that it would be really cool to have like an incentivized way to be revisiting them as part of a community. But I mean, again, for that to work, I would like to be able to talk to people, and I would like to, play with the people I want to play with.
Yeah, I mean, really, one of the most exciting things for me about the Nintendo Switch Online service is the promise of these like classic games, being able to play them again. Like some, maybe not the return of Virtual Console as we knew it, but
man, it just seems so it's like Virtual Console seems like such a no-brainer that
I
it's
know.
Like, why isn't it there already?
I'm really worried. I would love to see like a robust Virtual Console at launch. Like, I guess like kind of my fear is that on top of these online games, even if we do see a Virtual Console, it's going to be the like slow trickle that we always see, where Mario 3 is going to come out, and then like a month or two later Mario World will come,
right.
Which what I would love to see is these games that have been re-released every time, like those just are the vast majority of those are available at launch. and then we start seeing more interesting titles, like those begin to trickle out over time.
I wonder. So I know one of the problems with the PlayStation service that I can't remember is that with a streaming service, there's no way to eliminate lag entirely, especially on something when you're streaming like The Last of Us or whatever. But if Nintendo had a way for you to stream NES games, that could happen almost instantaneously, and like not be. This is me talking out my butt, of course, but like what the physical technical demands of streaming an NES game either on the server side or on the user side should be pretty nominal, right?
Right.
If Nintendo, and I know they would never do this. This is a dream scenario, but if Nintendo just made all of their Nintendo published NES games available to stream, seems like it wouldn't cost that. Obviously, there would be some cost associated with it. But if just the library was there to stream as just part of your Switch Online service, I feel like that'd be
huge.
It would be huge,
yeah.
right? And like the games are small enough and quick enough and whatever that it seems like it could be an imminently digestible and doable thing, technically speaking. But again, this is me talking out my butt.
Right. And to get my butt flapping as well.
Yeah.
It seems like SNES games would not be out of the realm of possibility.
Because
as far as like file size goes. Like
right.
ROM size.
They are also small file. I mean, you see this thing all the time, right? Of someone will post an image of Super Mario Brothers on like Twitter or Facebook or something with the text like, by the way, this JPEG is more data than the entirety of the original Super Mario Brothers. So like if all they're installing is, on your Switch, an NES emulator and the ability to stream it, like it seems like it should be able to get that information almost instantaneously.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I just want it, Mark.
I do feel like with with them charging, there does come an expectation of quality.
Yes, I do agree. They're charging so much less than everybody else, which makes
you do have to temper expectations.
You have to temper expectations, but it's a bummer to me that it's so cheap. Like I would almost rather it be $60 so I could be like, okay, great. Like
it's going to be good.
I trust
it's going to be worth the money.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I don't really know what to do with that other than like, well, it's probably going to be a cheap service. What do you make of the idea that the Switch Online service should or could be launching alongside a big online game?
Well, I'm willing to put down $1 million bet.
Oh, let's hear it. I'd love to take you up on this $1 million bet.
This is my wager, and this is the order of operations in which everything will happen.
Okay.
E3 in June. Super Smash Brothers, like Deluxe or whatever they end up calling it,
4+.
Yes, will be announced. It'll include all the content from the 3DS and Wii U games in one package.
Plus Ribbon Girl.
Yes, plus Ribbon Girl and an Inkling.
Sure.
And then for release in September alongside the Switch Online service.
So I don't think this is a bad idea, and I will not bet against it.
Okay.
Here's one thing that was very prominent in Smash Brothers on the Wii U. When you could go into like the history or gallery or whatever and see the games that these characters were from, and then you could do a quick demo of them and then purchase them from the eShop. If that is what this is, if it is like, here's Smash Brothers, it's basically an advertising tool to get you to all of these other games that are, by the way, available on the eShop, then yeah, absolutely, I'm there. Man, that would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do you think is there another answer to...
That's not Smash Brothers?
That's not Smash Brothers. I mean, first of all, do you think that they can launch this thing without a game?
Yeah, I think they could.
You think they could?
I think especially if it's the return of classic
the return
games
of Virtual
on
Console?
Switch.
Yeah,
then yes, I think you can totally get away with it. But I don't think they will.
Yeah.
But I also
that
don't
makes
know
sense to
what
me.
else it would be if it's not Smash Brothers, unless it's some like IP that we don't know about.
Sure, it's the retro thing.
Yeah,
Ravens,
it's
what did you say?
Ravenblade
Ravenblade.
online.
Yeah, I think you're right. That if it's not Smash, it isn't anything.
And it feels just unlikely to me
Splatoon 3.
that yeah, or like a third party is going to like Call of Duty or something is going to fill that.
That would be crazy, right?
That would be crazy, especially in September. I think those usually come out in November.
Yeah, cool it, guys.
Destiny 2. But
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, like I don't know. Of the known third party IPs, I don't know what fills that void on a Nintendo platform.
Do you think there will be any? I mean, maybe this is part of it. Is that Nintendo has been lining up their third-party partners to, play nice with the online service, and that because we were originally supposed to have this thing in summer of last year, right?
Right.
We thought to coincide with the launch of Splatoon 2, and now here we are, several months later, and it will be over a year after it was originally promised that we actually get it. But I wonder if any of that has to do with getting those online features working for people who aren't Nintendo. I guess here's another candidate, Mario Maker, because the original Mario Maker had a notoriously bad sharing program for getting your levels out to other people. It was poorly, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you curate? It's poorly curated. And discoverability was just a nightmare, like it is in most things. But like, that's something that doesn't work without an online service, and could be like a blockbuster thing if it comes out with the online service.
Yes, and I did think of a third party game that would be big for it to launch with GTA 5.
That's really good.
I mean, is GTA 5 coming to Switch? Probably not.
I mean,
but that would be a big game to launch it with.
GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5, has sold so many copies already, that they're probably not super worried about, oh, here's one more market,
right?
One more console, here's 14.07 more million copies we could sell.
Yeah.
But that would be big. What I just had one. What about Pokemon?
That would be big. I mean, obviously that would be big, but not like a Coliseum or something like that.
No, it would have to be the Pokemon game, which would be the MMO that everyone always
Get
wants
your
it to
hopes
be.
up.
Yep, hype now. Get hype now. What other fantasy things do we have here? I'm sorry, the $1 million bet didn't work out. I would take that same side of the bet.
Well, if there's anybody that wants to wager against me,
yeah, and me together. We'll each put down $1 million.
Yeah.
Send that email to Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com.
And then, add us on Venmo. We're at Nintendo Cartridge Society. Are there other, like, dream things or things that you expect, or anything else, like any other predictions?
Yeah, I mean, I guess not to be, like, a huge downer, but I really, like, I would be happy with the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like, anything else would be amazing, but I just want it to, like, make sense, be easy to use, and work.
Yeah.
That's, like, all I want.
Yeah,
and that feels like a fantasy.
It does
sadly.
feel like a fantasy.
Yeah,
I feel like at best it's going to be not at best, but my actual expectation is that it will be the NES and Super Nintendo games, 1 or 2 a month with like leaderboards that are then no longer available at the end of the month, and it's a different pair of games, and that's it. Like that's my fear, is that is literally all this is going to be, and the ability to play games online as we have been doing for free since since Mario Kart came out.
I think if there's any reason to be hopeful, it's that outside of like the phone app, Nintendo services on the Switch have been good. Like, the operating, like the firmware of the Switch itself is fast, responsive. The
Simple.
eShop, simple. The eShop is like fast, responsive. They seem to be prioritizing the right things with the Switch.
Still got friend codes though.
You do still have friend codes. Yeah, I mean that's a good point.
We still have friend codes. I do like that it connects like intuitively with Twitter and Facebook. I think that's cool. And I mean, like all of that stuff, it would be so nice to just have all of these social things just sort of tied together into one like gaming and just Nintendo platform. And, you know, I just want it to be this holistic thing that binds everything together.
Yeah.
I want it to be the force of Nintendo. That's what I want. Well, if you have ideas about what you would like to see the Nintendo Switch online program to be, tweet them at us. We're at NinCart Society, or send us an email. We are Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. All right, Mark, let's close out this topic. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the show. Remember, please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff on Apple Podcasts. We're not allowed to call it iTunes anymore.
No, because, I mean, iTunes still exists.
Here's the thing. We were using iTunes earlier, and it was frustrating to both of us.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be using iTunes if you can at all avoid it.
That's right. Use other podcast services.
Which you can also rate us on.
Yeah. And review and subscribe. All of those things
Yes.
help us immeasurably. We like to be discovered that way. And, you know, if you're listening now and you write something about this show, probably you'll say something good because, like, we just did a really good show, right? Anyway, find us, follow us, do all that stuff. We like doing this show, and we like it when you tell other people about it. If you like Mark and Mine's opinions, we write about comic books on retconpunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. If you want more of his music, you can go to 8bitbetty.com, or you can listen right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying, keep listening for the new stinger at the end here. And thanks for listening.
Campfire.